Hi folks, welcome to Thrive Mastering Midlife. In the last video, we talked about how there's a different formula. How there's a different formula when you reach midlife than there is when you are in your 20s and in your 30s and when you're younger. There's just a different formula. Part of that formula is nutrition. Nutrition is a key component no matter what age you are, but when you get a little bit older, when you hit midlife, the formula changes. And in fact, it becomes more important. Nutrition becomes vital when we're older. It's vital at all times, don't get me wrong, but when we get a little bit older, there are things we cannot get away with. And let's be honest, there are some things we could get away with when we were younger. We could get away with, a binge here and there. We could get away with an all-nighter or two. We could get away with eating that junk food, eating that greasy food, eating that processed food, and our bodies would adapt and they would adjust and our metabolisms would take over sometimes. But when you hit midlife, that changes. Everything changes. There's hormones involved. There's life that's involved, the way our body reacts to certain foods. There are foods that you could eat all the time and all of a sudden your body just says, heck, I'm done with that. That happened to me with dairy. I never had any sensitivity to any foods. They called me iron gut. I could eat pretty much anything. But all of a sudden, ice cream? Not my friend anymore, and not the friend of anybody around me, if you know what I'm saying. When I'm eating the ice cream, I'm lactose intolerant now. Not sure how, not sure why. It happened to me when I hit my mid-40s. Now that I'm in my 50s, I have to avoid dairy like the plague. I do eat it sometimes, but I know going in that I'm probably going to suffer. Nutrition is vital when we hit midlife. There are some things, there are some tools, there are some systems that I've put in place, or some things that I've done over the years in preparation for this. Things like MyFitnessPal. It's an online app that you can download. You should download. There's a free version of it, and it actually works really, really well when you're trying to track your calories. And here's the thing. Over time, I'm gonna dive into this a little bit more, and we're gonna talk about the nutrients and the macros, as they call it. There's a diet called Fit Your Macros, if it fits your macros, where you're basically just counting your carbs, your proteins, your fats. Those are the macronutrients, for those of you who don't know that. Some of you may not know what a protein is. Some of you may think, because of marketing and things, there's a lot of, it's interesting to me how the commercials will talk about how protein gives you energy. Get the protein source. Here's some chocolate milk protein source. First of all, the number one ingredient in chocolate milk is sugar. And sugar is a carbohydrate. And it's carbohydrates that give you energy, not protein. Protein doesn't give you energy. Protein does a lot of things really, really well. One of them is not really energy. Carbohydrates, great energy source. Fats, pretty good energy source. So carbs and fats, macronutrients. And again, we'll get into what those look like and what they do and the specifics of all that in a future video. So please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click the little bell. That will tell you when another video is up. And when that video is up and ready, you can watch it and you can learn and you can be educated. And we're going to have a little bit of fun along the way as well. But MyFitnessPal is an app that you can download. You can use on your laptop. You can use on your phone. I just find most of us kind of take for granted, or I shouldn't say take for granted, we just don't know how many calories we're actually taking in the run of a day. Now, before I go any further, let's just be honest. It's never going to be perfectly accurate, okay? Just so you know. Even with an app, all the apps are flawed to a certain degree. And what I mean by that is you can put in 1 ounce of almonds in any of the apps, and it will give you some calculations. It'll tell you how many calories are in there, and usually tells you how many micronutrients, how many macronutrients are in the food item as well. Let's not get too caught up in the actual numbers. It's the same thing when you're wearing a watch or you're on the treadmill, you're on the elliptical machine. It's telling you how many calories you've burned. It isn't exactly accurate, and it's for a lot of reasons, because the machine can't tell what your metabolic rate is. The machine can't tell, for the most part, how much you weigh. And if I'm on the machine and I'm, running, this doesn't run. If I'm on the machine and I'm walking for a half an hour, and Monica's on the machine and she's walking for a half an hour, the calorie expenditure is going to be a little bit different. It's calculating how many calories are being burned based on a couple of things, based on the speed, based on the incline, and that's basically it. The problem is, I outweigh Monica by a lot, almost 100 pounds. So clearly I'm going to burn more calories in a half an hour doing the exact same thing as she does. Let's just make sure that we're not taking these numbers as the gospel. They are a good thing to be aware of, and they're really good because, again, I'm a big fan of calculating input output to a certain degree because most people just do it blindly, and that leads to problems. I would rather know how many calories roughly you're taking in versus how many calories you're burning roughly. And then on top of all that, because again, it's not just about calories in, calories out, and anybody that says that doesn't know anything about nutrition. Let me just tell you that straight up. It's not just about calories in, calories out, because if it was, we'd all be eating Big Macs and fries every single day until we hit our calories, and then that would be it. It's the quality of the food we're eating as well. In fact, the quality is probably more important than the quantity, especially out of the gate. If you're new to this, download MyFitnessPal, put in the food, and calculate your calories for a week straight. Now remember, calculate everything. That's the first thing you can do. Calculate everything that goes in. This takes some work. And just let me flat out tell you, I've been doing this for over 30 years, and anybody that tells you it's easy is lying to you. This is not easy. It's not easy, especially at midlife, to start tracking all of this stuff and to start changing things up. But if you want to make a change in your life, you have to stop doing what you were doing before. If you're in midlife, if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you hit that wall and you can't figure it out, and you're like, man, I'm really struggling, there's some health issues that are happening. If you keep doing what you were doing, you're going to keep getting bad results, and probably your health is really going to suffer because of that compound effect. You can't do what you were doing. It's not going to work. You got to change it up. And one of the first things you should start doing is counting calories. Count the calories. Get used to the exercise itself. Really is tenfold. There's a lot to it. But the main reason, it's not to count the calories. I don't really care what calories say. I do. But out of the gate, it's about you being aware of what you're putting into your body. And you'll be shocked. You will be shocked when you start calculating everything you put into your mouth. Everything you put into your mouth, calculate, put it down, write it down. Get into the habit of doing that. Over time, you don't have to do it. But for now, out of the gate, MyFitnessPal or any other app like that, you can count your calories. You can put the food in. You can use the barcode scanner. It's really easy to use, and the free app is all you need. Don't worry about the other stuff, but just start putting the calories in. That is a beginning. And then guess what? Over a week, you get an average. How many calories am I taking in the run of a day? Some of you may not be eating enough. That is a fact. That happens a lot to clients that I work with. Some of you may not be eating enough. And this is again why at a certain age, we have to stop being so stubborn. If you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, and you're struggling with health, struggling with your wellness, struggling with weight, it's probably because some of the things you've tried in the past didn't work. Probably because you tried it on your own. Probably because you just downloaded something and tried it. Probably because you tried something your friend tried, or your cousin tried, or your mom or your sister tried. That doesn't work. What you need is a few things. You need some tools. You need some resources. You need these kinds of videos so you can get hints and tips for free. And then maybe hire a good coach. This is what I've been doing for a living for a very, very long time. And I help people on a daily basis to become healthier with proper nutrition, with exercise, and with lifestyle changes, mindset changes, all kinds of different things. And when you hit midlife, that formula is different. Why are we watching videos of 25-year-olds? Why are we watching those videos and taking that formula and trying it when we're in our 40s, 50s, and 60s? It doesn't work. It's been proven over and over and over again, and you've probably proven it to yourself. So stop it. Stop the insanity, as they would say. So you have to change some things. And the first thing you can do, aside from drinking the water, the first thing you can do is download one of those apps and start calculating your calories. Do that for a week. See where you're at. There's a million charts online that will tell you if you're in the right range calorie-wise for your height and your weight. It's a start. I'm not a big fan of BMI. I'm not a big fan of these height to weight ratios and all that stuff. But again, this is about starting something different. This is about starting something new. This is about trying something that could make a change. Download the app. Get yourself one of these watches. I don't care if it's an Apple Watch, if it's a Fitbit or anything like that. It's about being aware of what you're doing. It's about being aware of the calories. It's about being aware of the steps. It's about being aware of how much you burn, how much you take in. Being aware is the first key to success. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Make sure you press that little bell button so you get informed when the latest videos are out. Don't just live, thrive. Mastering midlife. Take care, folks.